football franchise, talking about that guy. Hoogie, Tyler every week. Heavy analytics, competition real steep. Whoa, that's sweet. Oh, in this belief. Nick so sick, man, bringing ships the whole fleet. Goats, not sheep. Follow every tweet. Don't sleep, always finding sleepers on the street, boy. F3, winning every single league. Money back guaranteed, but it's free. Welcome to the franchise. Welcome to the franchise. Let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast. With me, as always, is Tyler Gee and Jonathan Robertson.
I'm here. I'm present.
He is present.
I'm accurate.
Precise? Maybe?
Whoa. Brandon
Wow.
Marshall did outscore your guy.
Yeah, and I gave you beer for that.
It was delicious.
Week 3. I feel like week 3 is kind of when you start to figure teams out a little bit more. The game plans come together. Teams either figure out if they're going to suck or not. Obviously,
The Buffalo Bills just poop on somebody.
Yeah. So, I guess before we get into anything,
Just get excited.
yeah,
I mean, finally football is here. And, let's talk about – I was going to talk about it. I just mentioned it. The Buffalo Bills is – this just goes to show you. You think you know a team. You think you know what you're doing.
and
You
Josh
think-
Allen.
And then Josh Allen and the Buffalo's defense just surprised Mother Lover. And
I'm out gray.
somebody said that was the single best, whatever in our show, which I disagree. We have a lot of weird things that happen on the show.
I didn't get any of that.
What? I was saying, somebody was saying that was, the best,
No, you're right.
moments in our show, and I disagree.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we have a lot of weird moments.
Okay.
Like the one time we talked about, that naked dude busting in your house.
Yeah.
That was
I don't like to think about it, but yeah.
Oh, you think about it all the time.
Sitting there playing StarCraft, naked dudes in my bathroom, whatever.
Typical Tuesday.
Yep. College life, nerd life.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the news. There's lots of injuries, lots of weird things going on other than, of course, us just acting really weird. The rain is throwing us off,
Weather.
The fantasy news.
You know what? I need an espresso. Just 3 shots of it.
Express yourself.
Maybe before the Bucs game so I can actually stay up. Anyways, so Green Bay was talking about possibly sitting Aaron Rodgers, let him heal. After the press conference, honestly, he sounded kind of like a sore loser. He's just kind of thanks, Washington.
Well, technically, he was injured, so he was sore, and they did lose. So, sore loser conjunction.
I mean,
Fair.
He's not wrong.
It did happen. I mean, what as a Green Bay Packers fan, you obviously don't want this to happen because it's kind of like, okay, well, how long is he going to sit out? 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks? At what point can he come back and still get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those awkward moments, too, that it's being that it's not a major injury, it's you still have to kind of roll him out. You still have to, roll with the punches, and I think that's what he's going to. I mean, but I think this goes back to not even necessarily, Green Bay losing and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of upsets, and I think that this shows that there's just a razor-thin line between a good team and a bad team in the NFL. I mean, The Packers are a good team. I'm a Bears fan. I admit the Packers are a good team. But you know what? So are the Redskins any given Sunday. And so, I mean, we saw it with the Bills game. Bills come out, surprise people a little bit, just tear up the Vikings, who the Vikings tied the Green Bay Packers. I mean, and we also got to start redoing our notion of who is a great team and who is not. I mean, the Detroit Lions put a hurting onto the Patriots, and Jacksonville put a hurting onto the Patriots. And you're starting to see a redefinition.
On the Jags.
And the Titans put a hurting on the Jags. And so you have this weird
Like a kick in the
world.
shin.
Oh, man, that game was grueling to watch.
I couldn't do it.
But you start seeing that maybe our pre-notions of just this team being an elite team, are they? Like, I mean, I just, you know, every season is new. Every year is new, especially with all these new coaching staff. I mean, the Dolphins are undefeated. I mean, that's the world we're living in right now.
I don't want to live in that world, but okay.
It is.
Only if they wore the orange color rush every week.
Well, the orange color rush is pretty good.
That's the only way. So there's a lot of injuries. Obviously, everyone's heard Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL. Out for the season. Jonathan, hit me with some daters. You were talking about Goodwin with AJ.
Yeah, so last year before Jimmy Garoppolo came onto the scene, CJ Beathard, however you want to pronounce his name, he wasn't horrible. He played 6 games with Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin, I think during that time, he averaged somewhere, stat not precise, 24 to 27 yards per catch. He had 300-ish yards over 6 games, and I think he had 1 touchdown. So, I mean, I think Pierre Garçon had something like over 6 games, like 100 yards and maybe a touchdown. So I don't think it's necessarily the end if you have Marquise Goodwin. I think it could definitely work out still. I mean, 300 some odd yards, 1 touchdown. You know, that's not horrible over 6 games. I mean, you know, I think, you know, you have to get the touchdowns up, but I mean, I'm definitely not calling him a low-end wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2.
Yeah. So I guess as the 49ers in general, Kittle did okay last year without Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he still someone you all want on your team?
Yeah, I mean, right now in the world of Barfy, you know, tight ends, yeah, I mean, you know, you got to start thinking about, like, you know, as of this production. So, you know, right now the Pitt hasn't played and Tampa hasn't played, but I mean, this was week 3's, you know, tight end finishes. Okay, let me. I'm on standard. Let's not do standards for weirdos. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, this is a PPR finishes.
No,
Dallas Goedert was number 1 tight end. Travis Kelce, Kyle Rudolph, George Kittle, Tyler Eifert, Raheem Elson, which of course that was due to, you know, whoever getting hurt. We'll talk about that later. Zach Ertz, Benjamin Watson, Ricky Seals-Jones, Jordan Reed, C.J. Zuma, and Jeff Swam, and Jason Kroom. You know, old Jason Kroom on everyone's waiver wires.
Yeah, so he did.
So, I mean, you know, at this point, you were either playing Ertz, you were playing Travis Kelce, or playing Kyle Rudolph, or you're just barfing into a paper bag every week and just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And, I mean, George Kittle, I'm going to look at, you know, the targets. He got 7 targets, even with Jimmy Garoppolo. I know that half of those, but I mean, he's going to see targets. Let's be honest. There's not a true one, you know, wide receiver really there. I mean, Marquise Goodwin's not terrible, but I don't believe he is. There's opportunity for Kittle.
Yeah.
Long story short. And, you know, backup, you know, quarterbacks often like the tight end. They're nice little dump.
Please take the ball.
I love an easy dump.
Well, usually what happens is the tight end either blocks or he catches the pass. So when the tight end's not blocking, he's catching the pass.
Very astute. What other options is there for the tight end? Block?
So he's like, throw the ball. He does that exact thing because he's getting blitzed. AJ Green had a groin injury that's, I heard bone on bone. At this point, there is no definitive thing of what's going on.
Wait, bone on bone in his groin?
Dude, you know.
What is some? I do not want bone on bone.
He fell on his hip hard, and he said
and they don't lie.
And he said he fell bone on bone, but they characterized it as a groin injury. So we'll have to see what happens from this. But
and we've learned
the Bengals actually had some good players come out other than AJ Green. You know, AJ Green went out for a little bit.
I know we kind of like threw some crap on Tyler Boyd, but I mean,
He came to play.
I mean, do you pick up Boyd at this point? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I think
he's
you
on my
have to,
waiver
right?
wire list. Especially if AJ Green is out.
Yeah, well, we'll
Tyler
talk about
Boyd
waiver
fills
wires,
that-
but
fills
yeah,
that
I mean-
void.
Yeah.
Not AJ Green. We just talked about him. Evan Ingram sprained at MCL.
Yeah, and I mean, just watch this. It says he's day to day. I think that, I think that he's going to be fine. It looked a lot worse, especially when you're talking about getting carted off and blah, blah, blah. Of course, I just traded for Evan Ingram in a dynasty league, and I was like, good. Yeah, strong.
Exactly what should happen.
Which is okay. I was rebuilding. I'm literally burning that whole team to the ground, by the way. Like, everything is for sale. I think I have 5 first-round picks now.
Oh.
It's a barnyard sale, boys.
All right, I'll trade all of these for Le'Veon Bell. No, please stop.
No, I'm not. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, here in a little bit. Le'Veon Bell talks. But, yes, just watch it. Monitor it. I mean, on Sunday, Jonathan does a great job with the Periscope. We have tons of people watching, which we thank so much, and tons of questions being answered. All questions are answered, by the way. There's not one. We don't even leave one.
Questions. Questions that need answering.
So just monitor that, and we'll see. I mean, that's all you can do with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's minimum 2 weeks to me. I don't feel like he's going to come in this next week. Tyrod
Absolutely.
Taylor had a concussion. I mentioned this. He's supposed to be back by the next weekend, but Baker Mayfield is now the quarterback 1, and Tyrod Taylor is his backup. And after what Mayfield did, that's fair. I'd say that's fair.
Absolutely. I mean, and, it was one of those things that a lot of people gave it a lot of crap. Social media was blowing up. If you don't have a Twitter, you need to follow us at F3Pod. But on Twitter was just blowing up, talking about how the Browns coach was like, I don't know who's going to be my starter. I have to look at the tape. And they're like,
Okay.
all right. I
Well,
mean,
that's
if
just
you
how
saw,
bad of a coach he is, though. It's Hugh
Yeah.
Jackson. People talk about how bad of a coach he is because he's always a bad coach. That's why.
Yeah,
he's,
I mean, he even
he's
like
here.
I don't know, like okay, I'll just say it. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm more of a fan of own up to it. Like at one point too, they were talking about like, oh, we saw you run the Philly special, just to the left because Jarvis Landry is left-handed. He's like, oh no, we didn't run that's not the Philly special. He's like, we've had that in our book for a while. You can go and check I would just much rather like him just be like, I mean, if it works, it works. Like, I mean,
doesn't everyone have that type of play in there?
I saw you run the I formation. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
if it works, it works. And I mean, it's like the Bill Clinton thing. Well, I didn't inhale. Just be honest. Be like, yeah, I smoked it once.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me.
So,
Move on. Just be straight about it.
I feel like Tyrod's concussion has led him to be I guess droppable in redraft.
Yeah, I
Dynasty,
mean,
no, but
there's a lot of talk of like him going
the
to
49ers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think this is more Twitter news than it is him being a legitimate option. I think that people want to talk and they want to put those two things together, like, oh, a starting quarterback is not playing, and then you have a need for a starting quarterback. I don't know. I don't see it. I think
I mean,
he's droppable.
is it even worth it to the 49ers at this point? I mean, I guess if the coaches want to, or if they're playing for their job, yes. If not, then just save your money.
This is so bad to say, and I mean, I think you have to finish out the season. But as a 49ers fan, like Jerry McKinnon's hurt, you got Jimmy Garoppolo hurt. You're not starting off the season exactly on fire here. Mm-hmm. I mean, how much money and how much tradable assets are you really going to invest in Tyrod Taylor for a you'd be one thing if you're making a playoff run. It'd be one thing if you're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but like
you're
to
not.
just this
You're
early,
not.
just be this down and out and be like, oh, let's trade some future assets to get a few wins. I mean, that doesn't make sense for the franchise, and I could be wrong.
Last thing I wanted to talk about, Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers have opened talks for trading Bell. I guess Connor's been doing good enough. They're like, whatever, dude, just get out of here.
Oh, I said this before. I said it very first Periscope I had to do, and I said that was my hot take, was that I don't think that Le'Veon Bell plays another down as the Steelers. Actually, someone tweeted out his last run. And so this may be Le'Veon Bell's last play as a Steeler. And Le'Veon Bell liked it. He did not retweet it, but
Dang.
he liked it on Twitter. And I was like, so I've said this before. I think Le'Veon Bell, because of him not playing, I said either I think that he's doing himself a disservice by not playing. Because, unless, of course, he wants a trade. That's what I said.
Yeah, well, he wants to get out. He's told him he wants money or he wants to leave.
And I'm telling you right now, what he's doing is he's sitting in the Steelers locker room, or Steelers coach. I ain't playing another dang down. And they're like, well, yeah, but every single game you said, I ain't playing another dang.
I'll just stand back there.
Well, you have to come back week 10. I ain't playing another dang. That's just what he is repeating.
Anyways, so these teams that are looking at him, we have reportedly the Jets, the Colts, and the Bucks.
Which all makes sense.
Now, if I was Le'Veon Bell and I wanted money, I'd go to the Colts or the Jets. Of those two, I would prefer the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if he's in a win now possible championship,
I don't know.
I don't know if the Bucks can do it, but he would be a huge asset to their offense.
I don't think he'll go to the Jets, and here's the reason why. I could be wrong, but this summer, for those of you who don't know, we are a year-round podcast.
Oh yeah.
This summer, someone tweeted out like, "Well, don't worry, Le'Veon, we'll come pay you," and he tagged the Jets, and Le'Veon Bell himself commented and said, "Y'all can't pay me enough." And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Just straight out saying that he will not play for the Jets. And I was like, well. Now, I know money talks and we can sing a different tune, but I don't know exactly how not frowned upon the Jets organization was about that.
Yeah.
To see, and the Jets saw it. They were tagged. They know.
They know.
They know. And so, I think it's the Bucks. I think it's the Colts. I think, if it gets to the Bucks, everybody that drafted Ronald Jones in Dynasty just immediately crumples into a ball and
You know how
cries.
happy I would be? I have James Conner and Le'Veon Bell on my Dynasty team.
Oh, my gosh.
In our league of record, and I'm sitting there like, you know what? Yeah, go somewhere else, Le'Veon Bell.
So let's talk about this. Are you buying Bell in redraft? Are you buying Bell in Dynasty? What do you think, Jonathan? If you're going to buy him in redraft, you've got to do it now before...
Yeah.
he signs somewhere. Right? If you're trying to buy low, Jonathan, are you buying him low? Can you?
Yeah, I'll buy him. I think he plays sooner rather than later, so I'm going to trade for him. I think he's going to help your team out eventually. Le'Veon Bell's going to do Le'Veon Bell things no matter where he goes. I don't care what team out of the teams we've named, he's going to do what he does. So, yeah, I'm going to buy him. Depending on price.
Okay, now this is crazy. I know this is crazy to say, but David Johnson has been getting pulled out of snaps. He's been getting pulled out in redraft. Do you trade David Johnson for Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oof.
I don't know. It's just... we need to talk about David Johnson here in a second, but okay. I know Joe Mixon's supposed to miss some weeks. Would you trade Joe Mixon for Le'Veon Bell without him having a team right now? We don't know if Le'Veon Bell can not.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, he comes back week 10. Whether you think he'll play or not, he will be back. He chooses to sign. I don't. Can the Steelers take the franchise tag away at this point?
I don't know.
I
don't think so.
So he'll be back week 10 regardless because he wants to leave the Steelers. So he'll sign his check week 10. Will they play him or not is up to them. But he will be there.
Here's the thing. They're open to trading. They're going to trade him. They don't come out and say they're going to trade him unless they're serious about it. They're going to trade him. Here's the thing. If Joe Mixon is out another 2 weeks, I think Le'Veon Bell, you see him play in another 2 to 3 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a Bell trade before the beginning of next week.
So if you had Joe Mixon in redraft, would you trade for Le'Veon Bell?
Straight up, yeah.
Okay. It's a risk. Because
Yeah, I think it depends on my situation.
Yeah, that's another thing. Did I hit on one of these running backs that I can slide right? Do I have that burrito
It's
that
a
I can
gamble.
slide back in and be fine?
It's a gamble, but if I'm sitting here going, okay, Joe Mixon is out, let's say, for 2 weeks. It's not concrete. Let's say 2 weeks. And I expect Le'Veon Bell to play in 3 weeks. I'm okay with doing that because I'm only missing a week.
You can't just say that he's going to play in 3 weeks. What if he doesn't play till week 10? I mean, Nick's very right. And
sure, but that's why it's a gamble, is because you're sitting there saying, okay, like me personally, if I'm looking at a team, I'm going, okay, I think that there's a trade done before the beginning of next week, and I think Le'Veon Bell comes in and he starts playing.
But
obviously not this
here's
weekend,
the
but next
question,
weekend.
though: will he be as productive as he was with the Steelers?
And again, that's a gamble. But, I mean, you're talking about when he goes to a team like the Jets or the Colts. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is going to get his fair share. I mean, and I think Le'Veon Bell is one of those backs that he just needs carries. Give him carries and he does what he does.
I miss him. I mean, I'm not even a Steelers fan, but you just watching that guy play football is just gorgeous. It really is. Like, I'm not trying to be weird, but I'm just saying, like, and I mean, it's a risk. I think too, though, we touched on it. I think it just depends on your situation. Do you let's say you drafted Carlos Hyde late, and you have Joe Mixon, and you're doing fine without Joe Mixon, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I could see it.
Okay.
And let's talk about this point before we move on, because this isn't news, but it needs to be. What do you do with David Johnson? I mean, really?
What can you do?
You got to hold him.
You have to hold him, and you have to play him. I mean, you drafted him in the first round, more than likely. What are you going to trade him to?
I'm trading him.
For what?
But that's the thing.
What are you going to get?
I mean, he did okay. He has a touchdown. A lot of people just looking at the stat line. I think you could also sell the idea that Josh Rosen's going to come in. That's different. Josh Rosen's going to turn that offense around.
What do you hope to get for David Johnson?
I'm honestly, I'm willing to take David Johnson and another player and try to get Zeke. Because Zeke, as much as you like Zeke, Jonathan, Zeke's also in the struggle bus right now. For what Zeke does. I mean, he is not he does not have the ceiling he used to have. I mean, there were games where when you were down by 25, you're like, well, I got Zeke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's still a chance. Now, if you're down by 25 and you got Zeke, wrap it. I mean, and it's not him. It's that entire Dallas Cowboys offense. I mean, they're just not moving the ball. It reminds me, you know what it reminds me a lot? It reminds me of the Bears last year. They had the lack of wide receiver options, no danger in that, and so people just stacked the box. Why wouldn't you? I mean, they have a running back. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think the Cowboys are better than the Bears were last year because they have a better defense. I think Dak is a better quarterback, and the wide receivers options aren't as bad as the Bears was.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
I still don't know that I would make that trade, though. I mean, I think you're going to have to give up a lot more than what you should have to get Zeke. I mean, I'm going to keep David Johnson because I think with Josh Rosen, it's better. I think they still play in
congratulations, you're my trade target. I mean, that's what I'm saying, though, is I just feel like David Johnson, it's not the offense. That's my issue. It is that he is not getting snaps. I mean, literally, Chase Edmonds was out there tons. I watched that whole game. I'm a huge Bears fan. And Chase Edmonds was out there after the Bears had just, took literally the longest drive in known man history. We finally scored a touchdown. First person out there, Chase Edmonds. Don't tell me David Johnson was winded, because that dude took a nap. So, I mean, it's
not
the offense. The guy's just not taking snaps. I mean, that's my issue. And then what I want to do is I want to go to somebody and say, listen, he's not doing bad. The reason why David Johnson's not doing bad is because, guess what? He got a touchdown. One. And But
I think a lot of, the reason why David Johnson is losing snaps, though, is David Johnson obviously has an injury history. I think, what's the purpose of playing him right now? I mean,
they're losing. That's the purpose. I mean,
I
don't understand what the coach is doing.
Do you still throw out your franchise running back?
Yep.
No.
He has 34 carries. Peyton Barber, who's not played tonight, has 35. I mean, we're not. Alex Collins has 34. Philip Lindsay has 33 carries. You want to talk about targets? Well, he's getting it done in the passing game, right? Surely. Okay. Let's go on down, because I got to scroll to find him. David Johnson has 15 targets. Naheem Hines has 15. Naheem Hines has 13 receptions. David Johnson has 10. I mean, he has. He has as many catches as I think Jordan Howard does.
I just don't know. I still think they fade him because of the game script.
Yes, David Johnson has a less receiving yards, a lower catch percentage than Jordan Howard. And to me, right now, I would love to take David Johnson, turn him into Jordan Howard plus, and I think you can. David Johnson has less yards, less receiving yards, and a lower catch rate than Jordan Howard.
But I just think at this point, David Johnson is so low that you can hold on to him. I mean, he has to go up. I mean, Josh Rosen, better quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, he has to go up from there. I mean, so why not hold on? I mean, it's like stock. Why not hold on to a stock when you know that it can only go up? I mean, he can't do any worse. I mean, so unless you're just absolutely hurting for a running back.
I can sell on the name. By week 6, if this is the David Johnson we're seeing, I can't sell on the name. I can't sell on Josh Rosen coming in and changing that. I can't. I think that if you want to sell David Johnson, which I do, this is your window. This is your week. Because you can spin Rosen, you can spin you can't in week 6, week 7. And I mean, you know what? He could go up in week 6, week 7. But it's not the offense. It's just the play calling. The coach is not putting him out on the field. I mean, there is no reason. I'm sorry. I love Chase Edmonds. I know we had a writer write about him. I think he's a good little sneaky, good backup running back. There is no reason he's seeing snaps above David Johnson. There's no reason. I mean, they had the game on the line. It was 3rd and 2, and guess who's out there? The game is on the line. They need this first down. Yep.
Maybe
Chase
there's
Edmonds.
something in practice we're not seeing.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like if there is a window, because once let's say you hold and he doesn't do, the window's gone. It will not open.
By the way, I do just want to point out too, Zeke is tied as the number 1 rusher in the league.
Oh, I know. I'm not. It's not me hating Zeke. It's hating the fact that the Dallas Cowboys can't get down there for him to score a touchdown. That's where he's capped.
Maybe Zeke should just get good and just ride
what
the
else
train
see that
all the
play?
way down there.
It's like a 35-yard touchdown. Called back because before he caught the ball, his pinky toe went out of bounds.
I mean, that's still technically out.
That's called football.
That's called out, right?
But he did not
is
have
his toe part of his body?
He did not have the ball yet. And I know it's a rule, like you can't go out of bounds and then come back into bounds. But that ref had a bionic eye. I mean, as quick as that was.
I'm sorry for good officiating, Nick.
Before we move on, we're going to talk about one of our sponsors, Sport Bracketeers, a DFS company that's not the same.
No.
They make a unique bracket format. Users enter a contest, advance through the contest bracket by answering statistical questions in a head-to-head format, kind of like March Madness of sorts.
Yeah, and let me clear up this misconception, too. A lot of people are like, well, I just don't want it. That's a whole season. No. It's daily, dog. So you get to find out.
DFS, daily fantasy.
Absolutely. And just stuff like, how many touchdowns will player X, Y, and Z have together? How many yards will player X, Y, and Z have together? How many times will David Johnson not get on the field when he should? No, that's 50%. Not a question.
It's 50%.
How many times will Jonathan complain about the Cowboys officiating? 100%.
Every time. Every time he can.
No, but it is. It's a fantastic DFS. It's unlike any other. We always tweet them out. So go ahead and check out the website, sportbracketeers.com. Slick-looking website. Go ahead and make it. Hey, Nick, did you know this? They have free competitions. Competitions are really just free and, up to a $250 prize pool. I mean, why not?
What?
Yeah. Yes. What are we doing?
What?
Show's canceled. We got to get on
we
here.
got to go do this.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate them sponsoring the show.
The main event.
I feel bad because I feel like we started the show off weird.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just feel off. Maybe it's because I'm just like, I didn't get to watch my Boo Bear, my Buccaneers play.
I was like, who are you talking about?
So we're going to go over a few of the games. Not all of them, but I'd say some ones that are impactful. I'm going to go over my favorite. Here's my notes. Bills. LOLOLOL'd Vikings. LOL, 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 LOL.
So do you think Josh Allen can keep doing it?
No.
No.
I don't either.
I think he's fine. I'll say this though. That little cute pick, and they keep throwing it up on the thing, like where he jumps over a defender, and he makes a play, and he gets the first down.
He could have got
But
so
that
injured.
is so dangerous. I'm sorry, but you're off by a few inches. That helmet hits his knee, season's over. I mean, I know it's cute. I know it looks awesome, but that, I don't know. As somebody who watches enough people tear their ACLs and has watched football long enough, I'm like, that's how you do it. Like right there. Like, I think the Bills are. I'll say this though: the Bills are a sneaky defense. Like for starting, and here's the reason why. I know what you're gonna say, but the coach turned over the decision making on defense in the middle of the week last week, or the week before, week 2.
Okay.
And then now they come out and they do that. I really do think that defense is sneaky. Like, I'm not saying start them next week. I want to see it maybe one more time.
Well, and
But
part of me
do
wants
not
to
write them off.
Part of me is wondering if the defensive caller was so different that the Vikings didn't know what to do. Like, they saw a play.
And they may have looked over them, and that's the other fact that I want to see it again.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, don't ignore them. Like, I would not be surprised
I'm
at
gonna
this time
ignore
next
them.
week if we're going, oh, you need to pick up the Bills' defense and play them.
I'm going to ignore the heck out of them.
So, I mean, I think that it was a little surprise. Here's what I don't want you to do. Don't overcorrect on your Vikings. Latavius Murray, I think Dalvin Cook's still dealing with his injury. I think he's still a fine play. Dan Bailey took a poop on you, right? I mean, just...
I'm wondering if he's
But-
actually back or not, or if his injury while he was with the Cowboys has really done him.
or if
he's
they
actually-
got blown out by the Bills, so he really didn't have any opportunity.
I mean, it was-
So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I just don't think that Dan Bailey's a terrible kicker. I think he's a fine kicker. We'll see. I mean, I would have liked to saw him in action, but that's my takeaways from this game.
LOL. I think it's a fluke of sorts. Like, if I saw something on Twitter, I think the Vikings and Bills should play again, just so we can see what happens. Just because it was just so.
I
out
don't
of the
think
blue.
there's do-overs, Nick.
Yeah, there's not. I don't know. There's no one really that I'm looking at in this game. It was just, to me, it was a fluke. Josh Allen came out and played very well, but did the Vikings know how to play against him? Maybe not. Different style
We'll
of
talk
quarterback.
about Chris Ivory, I think, in the waiver wires, yeah. I mean,
I was actually gonna. Okay, yeah, that's a different game. So Browns top the Jets 21-17. Finally in their drought. Oh no, they win.
yeah, I mean, it was a good win. I mean, it was a good game to watch. Baker Mayfield looked fantastic. If you have some Baker Mayfield in Dynasty, congratulations.
You just won. I mean, you picked him. Maybe
Carlos
second round.
Hyde, everybody wants to keep fading him because of how much the
98
percentage of him.
yards, 2 touchdowns.
But I mean, the guy
God.
is electric. Landry targeted 15 times, and Callaway was second at 10. 10 targets, and I mean, and Nick has it in the show doc. The next highest was 3. So I mean, it seems to be Callaway
yeah.
and Landry. So the takeaway here is don't ignore Callaway. I think that he is a much more talented wide receiver than we give him credit for.
Yeah, and honestly, he could be a waiver wire pickup with the fact that Baker Mayfield is a different quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. He has a different person he'll throw to. Yes, Landry, 15 targets. But Callaway, 10 targets, and those two players being basically the only ones being targeted.
Well, remember, you had to think, think like a GM, right? And think what other GMs
I'm not
are
a
doing.
grandmaster.
Oh, well, sorry. But why were they so okay with just going ahead and trading Josh Gordon, the guy that they've waited on forever? I mean, he's uber talented. I mean, they're making a verbal statement. They're okay with Callaway. They're okay with Landry. I mean, so you have to. I mean, 10 targets. He's a good wide receiver. He made a lot out of those targets. I mean, you're not talking about the Browns who are throwing the season and just trading picks now. You're talking about a Browns team that could legitimately, with a decent kicker, their first 2 games, be 3-0.
Stop it.
I mean, he's
You're not wrong.
he's not wrong. I mean,
So,
you
I
know,
mean, take him. Yes, there's no question whether he's a waiver wire pickup. If he's on your waiver wire, pick him up.
and in Dynasty, I think he is a much sneakier pickup because he doesn't have the name yet. I mean, he does, but he doesn't. I mean, we've been talking about Callaway for a while. I mean, he should have went a little higher in the draft due to off-field issues and just stuff like that, which the Browns are very familiar with. He fell, and so I think he could have been a first-round talent kind of deal, but just fell in things. So
Yeah. We'll move on to a different game. Green Bay falls to the Redskins. Adrian Peterson on the ground, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Honestly, the Redskins outplayed them. Like, in all facets of it. They both had the ball about 30 minutes. They just outplayed them.
yeah, I mean that's at the end of the day. But I think here's what we got to talk about because I don't want to recap all these games when I talk about what do you do with Chris Thompson and AP now? I mean, do you just play both of them and just hope
Yes.
one of them has the game?
Well, I mean, they could have both had the game.
Now, here is one guy. We were talking about David Johnson, trading David Johnson and stuff. Here's one guy that I want to trade Adrian Peterson. And because I'm sorry, but he's good. He showed you he's good. But look, he did it the first game. He tooted on you the second game, and then the third game he comes out and does it. So do you honestly feel super safe starting him? Because like I said before the show, last week we were talking about Chris Thompson. Then Adrian Peterson comes out and does it again. I don't want him. He's not a certain player. I'm going to trade him, and I'm going to market him on the fact that he had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that is the guy that I think that you're going to be able to trade with a little extra and get one of those top-tier, consistent, every-game running backs. So if it's me and I have Adrian Peterson, which I don't, I haven't since 1996, then I'm trading him.
Okay.
I mean,
I think he was in college then.
yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things too that the Green Bay Packers, let's just be honest, haven't been great against the run. Right now they are 15th, so I guess a little bit better than I give credit for. But I mean, still thus far this year, 300 and something odd yards against them rushing. 309 yards against them. They have only allowed 2 touchdowns, so that's something to consider. But okay, would you trade Adrian Peterson for David Johnson?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I mean,
I would.
I mean, I think that would be a win, but
And then I would text you all and be like, hey,
Lol.
check out this trade I just made.
So here's another question. The Green Bay backfield, 3 running backs,
No.
it's
7
gross.
carries, 7 carries, 6 carries. Are you buying any of them?
Nope.
Are you selling any of them?
I will sell them all for a peanut.
Okay.
I mean,
It was a bad game script last week, but I said it in preseason before the season even started. Aaron Jones is the guy here. Still 6 carries, 42 yards. That's 7 yards per carry. He's a talented back. When he has a favorable game script, he's going. I mean, you have to play matchups. And we said it at the beginning of last week. Washington has a good defense. They are the number 1 defense. I mean, you have to be smart about it. But Aaron Jones is averaging 7 yards per carry.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yep.
one of those things that I think you're right. I mean, Aaron Jones might be the one that I would target, or if somebody dropped him because they're just down. But I mean, this is a down game script, so Ty Montgomery had some decent points. But I think
Well, and they all had a good yards per carry, all over 4 yards per carry. Of course, some better than others.
here's what I'll do. I will grab Aaron Jones over Jonathan, but I'm not playing him. I'm just going to sit him on the bench and hope that he becomes something.
Okay.
Because I don't want to play him right now. I mean, I did the same thing with Kerryon Johnson, which is starting to pay off here recently. But I mean, the last few weeks I had Kerryon, and I just held him. And there's been a few other redraft leagues where he didn't produce right away, so people dropped him. I picked him up. It was like,
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, and I know this kind of goes against what Tyler was saying a while ago, but
We'll find
Fine.
each other.
The Bills are the third team versus the running back. I mean, they're giving up, on average, 37.5 points to the running back. Green Bay plays them next week. If Aaron Rodgers plays next week and we don't have to worry about like a quarterback, mix up and, Green Bay falling behind, I'm playing Aaron Jones against the Buffalo Bills. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but keep in mind, too, like I said, a lot of what I said, too, had to do with them. They also changed, defensive coordinators. They're
Yeah.
not defensive, but defensive play callers. So
I got you.
it may be a little skewed, that information.
So I want to try to fit in two more.
Not to go against you, just,
I want to try to fit in two more
I get
games. Tyler was talking about Kerryon Johnson. The Patriots lost to the Lions.
say
What?
it slow.
Okay, so here's my notes. Brady, you kind of sucked. Michelle, you were acceptable, and James White, don't ever change because you're beautiful.
Okay.
Kerryon Johnson split carries with Blunt, exactly, 16-16. He had over twice as many yards. Now, as a non-coach, I want to tell Blunt to sit the bench. I'm not a Lions coach, so I can't tell you what to do. But I would be playing Kerryon Johnson 20-plus carries.
Hold on. For the love of God, Lions, just play Kerryon Johnson. He is your best running back. He looks fantastic. I mean, he really does. Like, just watch the game. If you're not on YouTube right now, I'm being sincere. I'm on my knees. It is not because I own him everywhere in fantasy because everybody's dropping him. No. It is because legitimately he is a good running back.
Yeah.
And if you want to win games, you will play people that are good.
I
And
always
the bold
said he was
strategy I'm going with.
talented. The problem I always had was he's going to the Lions, and the Lions have never used a running back properly.
Well, they just got their first running back to run 100 yards until like
2013.
Yeah. So what? 5 years.
Yeah. Other than Kerryon Johnson, one thing to note, I mean, they're still doing it. Tate, Marvin Gordon, and Kenny Galladay.
Marvin Gordon.
Marvin
Melvin
Gordon.
and Marvin Jones.
Marvin Gordon sounds like a guy that does my taxes.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like he wears a bow tie.
Hey, how you doing, Marvin?
I'm
Well,
fine.
me and what was that? Hit it again. Nick, say it one time.
I'm fine. Anyways, they're a three-headed monster. I didn't think Kenny Galladay could keep it up, but he has.
Oh,
and
he's
then
kept it
Marvin
up all
Jones and Golden Tate have not done bad at all.
Galladay is somebody. He's a must start. Like you go from it like, oh, he had a good week.
To now it's like, okay, could you please
okay,
stop?
is he startable now? And then like week 3, you're like, all right, just play him. Like
Yeah.
just play him.
Yeah.
He's good. I mean, Matthew Stafford is looking at him, and if you have him in a dynasty league, if you have him in a redraft league, then good on you.
Yeah, I'm okay with starting any of them.
All right, last game to talk about. I just want to point this out. The Saints beat the Falcons in overtime. Alvin Kamara rushed 16 times, which is the most he has rushed this year. He was also targeted 20 times.
Yes,
and
he was.
caught 15 of those. The second most targeted person was Michael Thomas at 10. He was targeted twice as much as their top wide receiver.
Gunslinging. Drew Brees.
Just
I
throw that out because I
will say this.
He's amazing.
All right. Everybody buckle up. You're not going to like this. It's not a drill. I worry about the future of Alvin Kamara.
After Breeze.
No. Yes. But yes, but no.
Mark
And Michael
Ingram.
Thomas when Mark Ingram comes in. Now, in saying that, I don't think that either one of them are going to be bad players. Please let me make that perfectly
He said
clear.
it. He said he's going to suck.
No, they're both going to be. But I think the main reason they're doing this is because what run game do they have? Like, they are just doing what the Saints do, which is put it in Drew Brees' hands and let him gunsling.
Yeah.
And he's doing a fantastic job. But do they keep doing that with Mark Ingram? Just a food for thought, especially a running back that they know is not going to be back there. So if they want to run Mark Ingram into the ground, run him into the ground.
Yeah, and the other thing is I think Mark Ingram is more of the running back Where
Yes.
Alvin Kamara is more of the
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey, not the Christian McCaffrey this week, but the Christian McCaffrey last week.
He's a pass catching role. He is the
He
hybrid
was only
dual
targeted
threat.
twice this week.
Oh wow! But I'm just saying, like, I don't.
Yeah.
I still want both of those players. I just don't think
He's actually one of my waiver wire pickups.
Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas are just hot. They are just searing hot. And I just think that when Mark Ingram comes in, they cool down a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
My other waiver wire pickup, Calvin Ridley. Matt Ryan had 5 touchdowns.
Well,
3
wait
of which,
for the waiver wire part, boy.
Well, we're talking about the game. 3 of which went to Calvin Ridley. Now, part of me is like, okay, well, Lattimore was covering Jones, who's a very good cornerback, and Julio Jones is a very good wide receiver. Ridley was the most targeted, but just by like two targets to Julio Jones. But he got 3 touchdowns.
Oh, Calvin Ridley's good.
And he just did it.
I will say this, though, too. Number 1, worst defense against the wide receiver.
Fitzmagic, though.
It is
Fitzmagic.
I know, but it's not even close. Like, you can say it's Fitzmagic, but the worst people against the offensive wide receiver is the New Orleans Saints defense. Right now, okay, they average, I mean, this is combined with all the wide receivers in PPR, 47.3 points to the wide receiver positions. I mean, right now, okay, it's 843 yards been thrown against them in 3 games. I mean, that's just 9 touchdowns. 9 to wide receivers. Yes, they played Fitzmagic. Yes, they played, Matt Ryan.
They've allowed the most touchdowns, and they have the 30th most yards
what
per
I will
game.
tell you, I like Ridley. I know that I didn't like him as much during the dynasty, and that was probably wrong of me. I've seen some great route running. But don't get too crazy. I think a lot of this, too, was the Saints not being good at wide receiver defense. They put the best person they had on Julio Jones.
And everyone else ran amok.
The next guy, everybody else just ran amok with a meat cleaver.
Yeah.
Because the next person in charge of their safeties and cornerbacks and their secondary and all that jazz was not good. And so you saw just Calvin Ridley just run everywhere. So, I mean, I like him as a waiver wire pickup, but I'm just saying how much is this Calvin Ridley and how much is this just a terrible Saints defense against a wide receiver?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to do this again. 3 touchdowns, no. But a touchdown and 55 yards?
I would be tickled pink.
I'll tickle you pink.
That's
sexual.
sexual.
So that's all the games we're going to talk about. Waiver wire pickups. I mean, Calvin Ridley is going to be a pickup for me. If you have space, 12, 14 team, 10 team, possibly, just depending on my construction. Mayfield, he's a pickup if you need a quarterback, especially in Superflex. I have a Superflex redraft league that I play in, and I will be adding him, especially because I had Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, wow. I just saw David Johnson for Devonta Adams. Think about that one.
I don't know.
Anyways.
So Tyler Boyd, we talked about. We talked about adding Tyler Boyd. Who are some other players?
I mean, I think that Calvin Ridley obviously needs to be at the top of that. I mean, I don't know how he's not. I mean, I know that I said the Saints, blah, 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 but you got to recognize talent when talent's there. I mean, I think that having somebody across from Julio is always a good thing. So, I mean...
if Mark Ingram isn't picked up yet, you might want to pick him up this week.
I doubt he is, or I doubt he's picked up. I mean, I'm sure he is, because there's just so many people that I just feel like...
Well, he comes back week 5, so you want to pick him up before week 4 because week 4 he will be picked up. But I would not expect him at first to do anything more than a running back 2. I mean, he is well rested. I get that. But, he's coming back to a different offense. He's been out for a while.
Ronald Jones is somebody that's interesting, but I think that if Bell goes there, Buck Allen is still on some people's waivers. I mean, at this point, you gotta keep on saying, well, he's just he's vulturing, things away from Alex Collins, and it's like, is he though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, at this point, it's like they just kind of keep using him.
But here's my thing: he had 6 carries and 3 receptions for 19.5 points.
Oh, I agree, but they just love him on the goal line.
He's just touchdown dependent for me.
I don't disagree. That's not what I'm disagreeing with, but I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
I don't know.
Would you play him? Do you feel comfortable getting either 2 points, 3 points, or 20 points?
Here's what I want to do with Buck Allen. Ready? I want to pick him up with waiver wires. I want
Sell
to
him.
package him and try to upgrade the position. I'd love to go up to somebody who's struggling in, let's say, running back, and come to him and say, hey, I have David Johnson and Buck Allen. Can I get Zeke? You know, I mean, I know you're saying, but I mean, if somebody really needs, and they don't look at the stat line, they're just looking at the numbers and going, wow, Buck Allen. I mean, you know, he's getting more points than Zeke. I mean, that's sad to say, but he did. I mean, you know, oh, wow, he's getting more, you know, I just saying, like, that's what I would be doing if I was grabbing him off waiver wires. I think somebody else is Chris Ivory. I'm just not sure what's happening.
Yeah.
And out of just sheer volume, I mean, he got 11.2 points. I think it's a half point PPR. Week 2, week 3 got a 14.10. So I mean, that's flex. I mean, it is. It's a.
And LaShawn McCoy was out, and if he stays out, then yeah, but.
Well, but that's the thing is, I mean, he's off waivers. I mean, okay, and I think Latavius Murray. I think that Latavius Murray may have got dropped because, and once again, we just don't know what's going on with Dalvin Cook. So I mean, just playing the injury thing, I'm not spending big money on any of these guys. The only one that I may spend big money on, or decent amount of money, would maybe be Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. Out of those two, who do you want more off the waiver? Do you want Tyler Boyd or do you want Calvin Ridley?
I want Tyler Boyd.
In Dynasty or Redraft?
Redraft.
Tyler Boyd and redraft.
Because Calvin
Ridley.
Calvin Ridley's on most people's dynasty.
My thing is, A.J. Green usually gets hurt. Julio Jones does usually get hurt, but A.J. Green gets hurt more often than Julio Jones.
I would probably want Calvin Ridley.
I will bring the tiebreaker and I'll go with Tyler Boyd. Just because he's been going to a lot. Andy Dalton, is getting on fire. And I mean, as of right now, we don't know if A.J. Green's playing. And A.J. Green, let's be honest, is not exactly Iron Man. He does not just be like, oh, I'm good, and gets back in.
But it's almost for that exact reason why I would go Calvin Ridley. Because if Julio Jones is playing and he's taking the number one coverage away,
like he did last week,
I want Calvin Ridley because he's going to be. I mean, against the Saints.
My problem is if Julio Jones takes coverage off, what if it's not as good as Marshall Lattimore? He runs amok on even decent cornerbacks.
I mean, here's my other issue is A.J. Green went down.
That's what I'm saying.
So Tyler Boyd was guarded by who? But the number one option by Carolina?
You're saying long range through the season, Ridley's better. Short range, Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I mean, and also Carolina has a horrible secondary. I mean, they're playing with two. I mean,
not as bad as the Saints, but yes.
They're playing with two nobodies as their cornerbacks. I mean, I'm just saying, like, what happens if, now put the Bengals against the Saints, and now Tyler Boyd. I like Tyler Boyd. I said on the Periscope to start him, to pick him up starting. But what happens when Tyler Boyd goes against, like, a Marshawn Lattimore?
Well, I mean, so Carolina Panthers, so looking at this, according to PPR formats, have only on average allowed 21.83 points to the wide receiver position. So they're the 19th worst. So, I mean, what is that, the 17th? I mean, the middle of the road secondary.
Now,
gets a wide receiver.
Fabricated, though. Remember, they did go against Cowboys, which had no offensive wide receiver movement.
Well, I mean, I know, but I'm going off of what I have. I mean,
they're just so bad.
So I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Tyler Boyd still, to me, just has the most upside. I just do. I just think that if A.J. Green misses time, and even if A.J. Green doesn't miss time, I mean, let's be honest, Andy Dalton's on fire right now. And, I mean, without Joe Mixon there, they're going to the throw.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's waiver wire pickups. I think that's just about it this week.
Yeah, before we're going to get out of here, we're going to talk about how you can get a free mini Deshaun Watson signed helmet. It's from our
cute.
sponsor, Hall of Breaks. You can get the newest memorabilia available from them, from recent signings and hot rookies to new products with classic players. They have first-round picks to Hall of Fame standouts. The best products around are in the Hall. Daily chances to win prizes with a new series every week. Products from full-size replicas and authentic helmets to minis and Blaze, Ice Speed, and other popular styles. There is some risk involved in this game of chance, so be sure to read all the rules of the page or contact the page admin with any questions. Hall of Breaks is more than just a prize page. It's a community of dedicated collectors and lovers of the game.
Absolutely, guys. You got to jump in. Prizes aren't guaranteed. Having fun is, though. And you know what? One thing I really like is that you can get in there, jump in. Maybe you win an item, and maybe you like this item, but you think, you know what? I really, really would like something else. Maybe I want a little something different. On that post, people will post, hey, I have this signed Le'Veon Bell Steelers helmet. Well, not a great example right now, but I have a signed Tom Brady Patriots helmet. I'm not a huge Patriots fan.
I'll sell it.
I'm selling it, or I'll trade it for a Broncos something. I'm a big Broncos fan. If you have any, and people were just sitting there swapping. So that whole idea of a dedicated community of sports memorabilia fans, 100%. Like, I think there was 153 comments on that of people just trading and just bartering and it was just insane. It was really cool. And I mean, I think even one of our writers was like, yeah, I got this one item and I traded it for like a Broncos full-size helmet. And I was like, oh, cool. So, I mean, really interesting. Check it out. Hall of Breaks. Great group of guys. We thank you so much for sponsoring the show, as well as that cool pigeon that Nick is.
Cool. Check out the comments to this, or the description of this podcast. There's a giveaway link. You just click that and you follow.
Yeah, and that's going soon.
Stuff.
It's September.
It's next week.
Do you remember? The 24th night of September. And, of course, follow us on at F3Pod, and the website is thefffranchise.com. There are nude photos of Nick. No, they're not. I keep those
Thanks
in
for
my
listening
private
to the Fantasy Football Franchise Podcast.
Private
Follow
library.
us at F3Pod.
You ever just start a sentence and you're not sure where it's going? Constantly.
Every time.